Key issues in a dissolution. The key issues in a dissolution are as follows: child custody and visitation, child support, spousal support, property division, attorney's fees, and restraining orders. The main assets of a marriage. The main assets in a non-high asset marriage normally are as follows: 1, the house; 2, the pension plans. Community property. Spouses are entitled to half of all the assets and debts accumulated during marriage. Property division analysis. In dividing a marital asset, you need to take the following 4 steps. 1, identify the asset. 2, characterize the asset as a community property or a separate property or a hybrid of both. 3, value the community property interest in the asset. And 4, divide and distribute the community property interest in that asset. Identify the type of pension plan. There are 2 common types of pension plans. First, the defined contribution plan, and second, the defined benefit plan. A defined contribution plan is a benefit paid to an employee based on what the employee has paid in. Examples: 401ks, IRAs. When looking over financial documents, look for terms such as 401k, 403b, 457, profit sharing, or savings plan. Defined benefit. A defined benefit plan is a retirement plan in which the employer promises a fixed benefit. Normally, the defined benefit plan is based on the years of employment credited towards the retirement plan. When looking over financial documents, look for terms such as defined benefit, pension plan, or accrued benefit. Value of the community property portion in the pension plan. Family court must use the appropriate formula to divide the community and separate property interest in a pension. Value of the community property portion in a defined contribution plan. The community property portion in a defined contribution plan is the amount contributed during the marriage and accretions or increases thereon. Now, attention, the community property portion may include contributions paid after separation, but due to employment prior to separation. Remember, the non-employee spouse is entitled to 1/2 of the community property portion of the plan. Value of the community property portion in a defined benefit plan. The community property portion of a defined benefit plan is normally divided using the time rule, which comes from the 1976 case called In Re Marriage of Brown. The time rule is appropriate if the amount of retirement benefits the employer promises to pay is substantially related to the number of years of employment. The time rule formula. The community property interest in a defined benefit pension plan is determined by the following fraction. The employee's length of employment during marriage is divided by the employee's length of employment in total at the time of retirement. So the first thing is the employee's length of employment during marriage, that's the numerator, over the denominator, the employee's length of employment in total at the time of retirement. The non-employee spouse receives 1/2 of this fraction because he or she only gets 1/2 of the community property portion. Here is a time rule example. Facts. An employee acquires a pension over a 10-year period. The employee is married for 5 years during the period the pension is acquired. Here are the results. The community property acquires 5 years over 10, i.e. the numerator is 5 years, the denominator is 10 years. The non-employee has the following interest: 1/2 of 5 years over 10 years, which is 25% of the defined benefit pension plan. Division distribution options when dealing with a pension plan. There are basically two options. One, you can divide in kind, or two, you can cash out. Now, what does division in kind mean? It means segregating and rolling over the interests of the non-employee spouse into a separate account inside or outside the pension plan, depending on what's available. Second is a cash out. The employee purchases the non-employee's 1/2 community property interest at a present value. The takeaways. There are two common types of pension plans: defined benefit plans and defined contribution plans. When dividing the retirements, the parties need to first figure out what portion is separate property and what portion is community property, if any. The community property portion in a defined contribution plan is just the money contributed during marriage and any interest or stock dividend accumulated thereon. The community property portion in a defined benefit plan is usually divided using the time rule.